That's so good. Listen to that bass line. Here comes the drums. You ready? Oh, yes. Oh, what a groove. Ooh. Ah, feels so good. I love this record. How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here. Welcome back to Groovy Thursdays. We made it all the way to groove number 14, and today is a super fun one. The song is called Nuclear Burn from the band Brand X. The song comes from the record Unorthodox Behavior, and the drummer on that record is the one and only Phil Collins. Now, anybody that knows me at all or has followed my career at all knows that Phil Collins was by far my favorite drummer as a kid growing up. He had a huge influence on the way I played drums. And even to this day, after 40 some odd years of playing drums, he's still in my top tier of favorite drummers of all time. This record, Unorthodox Behavior, was recorded back in 1975, and it was the first record they ever recorded as a band. Now, Phil was also in Genesis back in those days, of course, and I think it was the same year he was recording the record A Trick of the Tail, so he was super busy at that time. Now, if you're a fan of 70s music, 70s fusion, it was a golden era. There was so much great music coming out of the world in those days, and Brand X was certainly up there in this style of music. It's also worth mentioning, at least in my opinion, that in those days, in the mid-70s, that Phil was on fire as a drummer. He was playing his butt off back in those days. He was a great drummer his whole career, of course, don't get me wrong. But in those days, there was a freedom to his playing and a groove and just an openness that was really second to none. So Phil, along with bassist Percy Jones, guitarist John Goodsall, and keyboard player Robin Lumley, put together a killer band. And if you've never heard this record, Unorthodox Behavior, you really should check it out. Either go pick up a copy, or you can even just listen to it on Spotify. There's so many amazing moments on this record. The band is on fire. It's a really great listen. Now, with all that being said, let's get into groove number 14 right now. Let me quickly say right here, if you like what's going on at Groovy Thursdays, that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with all your friends, keep sending me those great suggestions and comments. I'd love to read them. And with that said, on to the groove. The groove is in 11/8. I'll count that for you here in just a second. It's at 310 BPM, but that's at eighth notes. That's why that number is so big. The groove is just one bar long. There's a lot of various grooves on this particular song, but I just picked the opening groove. That's what we're going to study here. And it's just one bar long. In the transcription, I made it 2 bars just to take up some space on the page, but it's really just a 1-bar groove repeated. Let's first talk about how you count this 11/8. Definitely don't count all 11/8 notes in succession. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Don't do that. You can, I guess, if you want to, but it's way harder that way. The way I count this groove is to count it how it feels when you hear it back. And we'll sing it through here in just a second, but if you count it, it's 4 plus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Right? So it's all in eighth notes. So if you're counting 4 times 2, because they're eighth notes, is 8 plus 3 is 11. I'm a pretty basic mathematician, but I'm pretty sure that's 11. Okay. So, and again, it's a feel thing. Now that last chunk of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, that last chunk of 3, if you feel it like it's almost like a quarter note triplet. It's a triplet feel at the end, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, And if you want, if it makes it easier for you to really feel that triplety thing on those 3, just to get it into your head now, count really fast 3s like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 to the 1 to the 1. 2, 3, 4. 1 to the 1 to the 1. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1 to the 1 to the 1. That's just to get the feel in your system here, in your body. Don't count like that when you're playing. See if you can just play 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And you'll get this groove in no time. One last thing I want to say before we go into the little details of sticking and stuff here is when you listen to the way Phil played this groove, what's so cool about it is the softness, like the touch. He's playing so lightly. At least it sounds like that when you're listening to the record. All the ghost notes are really ghosty, and it's just a lot of bouncing and percolating sounds, and it just sounds like he's barely touching the drums. I know he's hitting them harder, and maybe it's the mix, but the way it comes across is so soft. And that's what made his drumming so great back then. He was able to really go soft and loud. His dynamics were amazing. And, well, since he's left-handed, his right hand, his offhand, was always moving. I used to call it the slop, the Phil Collins slop. It was always in there, and I say slop in a great way. It was the special sauce that gave all of his grooves such a great feeling. Now you can play this groove soft or loud, however you want to. It really works either way. In my performance earlier on in the video, I think I was around medium loudness as far as the ghost notes are concerned, but practice it all different ways when you're sitting at home on your drum kit. Now let me talk you through the sticking in the main part of the groove. The very first beat is kick and open hat, and it lasts until beat 3, where you come with your snare and a closed hat. So boosh-ka, 1, 2, 3, just like that. Then starting on beat 4, it's a sticking pattern that you could quickly memorize. Right, left, then a double after that, right, left, then another quick right, left, and then the triplet thing happens where it's right, left, right, left. Again, it's always harder talking about these things. It makes it sound more complicated, but just play this on your snare drum if you want to get this sticking together first, and then put it between your hat and your snare, and where the backbeat lays, where the snare lays in the groove, will start to feel really natural to you. One thing to point out, once you get the sticking pattern memorized, is that your hi-hat hand is always on the hi-hat, your snare hand is always on the snare. There's no crossing over to make it any more difficult. One last thing I'd like to point out here is when you get to the second backbeat in the snare, where the double is on the left hand, it's an accent with a ghost note immediately following it. And those things are actually pretty natural to do, that loud, soft kind of thing. Get a whip in your hand, hit that first stroke, and then let the stick bounce for that second ghost note nice and softly. Another fun ear candy thing to point out about this groove, at the end, when you get to the right, left, right, left, those rights are along with your kick drum, and you open the hi-hat just a little bit at a time, a little snap, a little tss kind of thing with the hi-hat, followed by the 2 ghosts in your left hand. It's a lot of fun and it sounds really cool. And the last thing I'll mention about this groove is to not overthink it. It's really just a lot of back and forth between your hands. Boom, pa, do pa, do pa, do pa, pa, boom, pa, boom, pa, boom, pa, boom. Then get that sticking pattern together between your hands, put it together with your kick drum, and you're off to the races. And there you go, groove number 14, an amazing Phil Collins groove from the song Nuclear Burn, the band Brand X, and the record Unorthodox Behavior. So much fun to listen to, and I do encourage you to check out the whole record because it rocks. It's so much fun to hear, and Phil is just killing it on the whole record. Please go ahead and film and record yourself playing this groove. Post it up. I'd love to see what you do with it, and join me next week here at Groovy Thursdays for groove number 15. Cheers, everybody.